beer, you can end up going, well, I'm gonna have to do some editing.
It's a 2-hour podcast and a lot of beers. I started going down a rabbit hole. And I was doing a lot of editing.
Well,
All
and it
right. Well,
sounds great to you until you go back and watch it later, and then you're like, oh man.
yeah. All right. We'll go ahead and start it. All right.
Cool.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Shuttle Drive. In this episode, I have one of my buddies from East Tennessee, another Knoxville native, just like me, Kirk Eddlemon. For you guys that don't know, he's definitely got some laps on some rivers around the Southeast, and he literally wrote the book on a lot of these rivers. Kirk, man, how's it going, buddy?
It's going great. How are you doing, Wade? You have a good holiday?
Yeah, man. I feel like my whole life's a holiday. So,
Yeah. Hey, if you
nothing
play it
really.
right, a little bit of luck.
You play it right, nothing really changes for me. How
Yeah,
about you,
man.
man?
I like
Done
it.
pretty good.
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, I had some family time and just everybody left, and Laura and Alex, my son, and we went rock climbing for 2 days. So I can barely walk. I can barely move my arms, and yeah,
That's me. After it's one of those sports you don't do enough to
I
be
know, man.
fit enough at it, but when I
Yeah,
do it, I love it, and then I feel it for about 2 weeks after that.
man, it puts kayaking in its place because I can off the couch class 5, but
Exactly.
off the couch climbing, you just hope no one else is there to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Same way with mountain biking too. I try to.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You
Yeah,
know it. Yeah.
even more so. Yeah, even more so.
Yeah, you start doing those hill climbs, you're like, oh my God, I hadn't been on a bike in 2 months. And
Yeah,
then you start getting a little sloppier. But you're right. I feel like I could take 2 or 3 months off from kayaking and probably still just go run a class 5. Yeah, I'm good.
yeah. It's that ride a bike phenomenon, but on the water. But the mistakes still hurt just as much. So,
Uh, I tell a lot of people the brain tells me I can do some things after taking a long, but the muscle memory just takes a little bit. Like you feel like that edge is off a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's kind of like, you think you can do something, and in your mind, it's like watch. I remember we used to watch skate videos when I was in high school. We all rode skateboards, and you'd watch a video and get motivated, and then you go get your board and go outside and just eat it. So,
And then you're
yeah,
unmotivated.
sometimes your eyes can be bigger than your stomach, but that's good too, man. You just gotta get out and get after it. So,
Yeah, Kurt, man, we'll get into it. One of the things that I'd really always wanted to talk to you about is these things right here. I actually have both copies right here.
yeah,
I picked them up on a Black Friday deal that you had going on.
yeah.
So this is the guidebook, and these are the Whitewater South Appalachian. And you actually, there's so many rivers. You did 2 of them.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
this lets people know the variety of runs that are just here in the Southeast.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot here, and it's pretty condensed too. I mean, you can drive from the good stuff in Northeast Alabama all the way up towards, I kind of think of our region ending around Boone or Abingdon, that area. I mean, you're only like a 5-hour, 6-hour drive to cross the whole region, and there's hundreds of runs. It's so good here. Yeah.
And you're currently still in Knoxville, Tennessee, right? For the people
I am,
listening.
man, born and raised. I guess I'm never leaving now. I'm 40, so I'm halfway dead and still here. And
Would you
yeah,
I grew up a little south of Knoxville in a town right outside Sweetwater, Tennessee. So, but
yeah.
Knoxville's been my home for a while too, and I moved to Greenville. But would you not agree with me when you look at the geography of Knoxville, where it's
Yeah.
located? You've got the Plateau here, the Walden Ridge, Chattanooga here, the Boone stuff here, and Asheville
Yeah.
here. Is it not the Mecca?
I mean, I think it is. I grew up here, so it's hard for me. I can't say separate myself from my own bias, but what I'll say is each area is good. Living in Asheville, having the green right there, the Linville, Joe Cassie, Forks of the Pigeon, the Raven Fork. You're in such a good spot to just stay super, just solid on the sharp end. Chattanooga, when the water's up, Chattanooga's the best. I mean, the
It's
idea that
awesome.
there's like 20 class 5 creeks within 30 to 40 minutes of downtown Chattanooga, and when it's on, it's on, but when it's not, it's not. Knoxville, we don't have quite the density of class 5 rivers just right nearby.
Just the Smokies.
but we've got the classic 3-4s. You know, we've got Daddy's Creek, Tellico, sinks to the elbow on the Little. I mean, that's such a classic backyard run. It's 40 minutes from my house. One thing I like about Knoxville is we do have, no matter where it rains, we can day trip it. You know, if you're in Chattanooga and it all hits North Carolina, you know, I hope you got the day off.
That's
You know,
me
and
for
same thing.
Chattanooga right now.
Yeah, you know, you talk to people in Asheville or, you know, in North Carolina, they never even come to Tennessee. They've heard there's good runs over here, you know? And so being in Knoxville is a good spot. It kind of, it celebrates the variety. There's just so many different directions you can go, you know? So that's what I'll say about Knoxville. And that kind of, probably part of the reason I wrote a guidebook is I lived in Knoxville and I drive around and hit all kinds of different stuff. And
Yeah. And you know, me and you both, you know, you like also one of my favorite creeks around there, Bee Creek. Bee Creek's a good one, ain't it?
man, yeah, that's my special place. I took Alex there for his first time. He was, that's kind of a run you don't want to get ready for. You need to be beyond it and step down into it a little bit. And so I was kind of waiting for the right time to take him, but a couple weeks ago we had some really good flow and I took him out there. It's medium high, solid level. He
I
crushed
seen
it and he loved it. I was hoping he'd love it, man. He did.
yeah, and it's one of those runs that not many people know much about. You know, it's tell everybody what part of Tennessee is it in?
Yeah. Bee Creek it's a tributary of the Caney Fork. If you look on like a topo relief map, uh, Caney Fork and Bee create this huge gulf that kind of just totally severs the connectivity of the roads, the counties, everything. Like it's just, it really kind of, it's in the middle of nowhere. If you look at the triangle of Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, it's this blank spot, kind of right far away from all those towns. You know, we're the closest in Knoxville and it's still, you know, an hour and 30, hour and 40-minute drive.
And
And
then the shuttle.
yeah, the shuttle's long. So because of these canyons, there's just no good shuttle. So it's a lack of a good shuttle. I mean, if this thing was roadside or if it was, you know, super convenient, it would be ultra classic. As it is, it's a pain in the butt. You got to either hike for an hour, hour and a half on a really rough road to get to the put in, or you got to run like an hour and 10-minute each way shuttle. But I don't know. It's amazing in there. It's just super awesome. Class 4-5.
Which
We kind of compare it to the Lower Meadow, but like tighter,
yeah,
creakier.
good
Yeah.
comparison. Yeah, now that you mention that, that is a good comparison for that.
And it's deep strokes. You know, a lot of these classic Southeast creeks, you're ruddering and stern drawing because there's no point in sticking your blade more than 6 inches in the water. And I mean, you think of like, you know, the Raven Fork and a lot of the Joe Cassie stuff, you know, you're definitely like
dragging,
skipping and popping and ruddering. Yeah, but Bee Creek's still kind of like that international classic style of like every stroke you take's a deep stroke and big holes, burly features. You've been there, you know, man. It's
got
cool.
some undercuts too. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's scary
I,
if you're not focused.
and the scenery's like immaculate in there. To me, it's on par with like a Linville. I put it kind of in that, you know, not as stout as Linville, but kind of in that category for me. Where
I'm a geologist by training, and the upper canyon of Bee Creek is really interesting because, you know, a lot of your viewers probably paddle on the plateau and you notice all the rocks like a sandwich. It's all horizontal layers of this and that, a lot of sandstone mainly, sometimes a little bit of limestone, but all the layers in Bee Creek are like this and they're all like folded and broken, and that's just super rare to see a run on the plateau that does that. I mean, you almost feel, it almost looks like Rogue Canyon or like Chiapas, or it looks like some place that's
not in
far,
East
far away
Tennessee.
from here. Yeah, not Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, it's right outside of was it close to Crossville, right? Or close to not too far.
Yeah,
from
it's not too far from Jackson over in Sparta, Rock Island. You know, I've paddled Bee a lot with Clay, you know, because he lives pretty close by there. So
some people, like I've seen Clay talking about hiking up from Caney Fork.
Man, that's the way to go. And honestly, like probably my favorite run, if I have a day off, in other words, if I have a day off from taking people kayaking and I'm not using that day off to go kayaking with my family, maybe they're in school working or something. If I've got like a weekday, I go run the Caney Fork. And then when you get done with the Caney Fork, you just eddy out river left instead of river right. And it's like an hour and 10-minute hike, 2.5, 3 mile hike, and you get all the goods on B. And you know, I get it. That's most of the times I run it that way.
That's the
'cause you
best
can
bang
just get
for
it
your
done
buck.
quick.
I've never done that, but if it runs like that again and I get a chance to get over there, that's how I'm going to do it.
Dude, let me know, because
I didn't even think about it till I seen you posting about like, or Clay, somebody posted about headed up to the top, and I was like, that makes
Yeah.
total sense.
Yeah, it takes it from like needing 2 cars and a crew and like a full Saturday to like, I mean, I've done it, you know, I've left the house at 2 p.m. and snuck it in. So yeah, it makes it, you can session it a little better that way.
What's one of your favorite runs out there on the plateau?
Yeah, Caney and B, I mean, Caney Fork is just like definitely the most unsung run probably in the South. I mean, it's of the quality of the Chick and Watauga. I
Yeah.
kind of think of it as right up there with those. And to me, those are the very best class 4 runs.
Because
in the South.
it's hard to say what is your best run. People ask me like, what's your favorite river, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I've got so many. So I'm going to break it down by region for you, Kurt. What's your
Okay.
favorite Chattanooga area run?
Chattanooga area
What's your
run.
go-to?
I feel obligated to say the Bear, but I don't get
Okay.
on the Bear much these days. I just haven't been out there much. It's I mean, to me, the Bear is got to be the highest quality class 5 creek in the Southeast. Just for bang for your
Okay.
buck, you get that monster mile, big bedrock drops, big cascades, waterfalls, and then you get a 1.5 miles of like, it's like the West Prong, but
Yeah.
somehow even better than the West Prong. So to me, it's like got the Boulder Gardens, the big bedrock drops. As far as like, I don't know, I love going and just doing cane chick. And now that my son's a
That's a
good
good combo.
paddler, like he loves cane chick. So I went from running it maybe once a year, because I'd already been there, done that long time ago. Having my son with me, I'm kind of revisiting all these like eras of Stoke for the Caney Fork, for
Through
cane
him.
chick. I get to do it all again. It's awesome. And I get
That's
to
awesome,
reconnect.
dude.
It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, we have to go here. So usually my best runs are wherever he wants to go.
Yeah, Alex has definitely progressed perfectly from, it didn't seem like you just threw him right into class 5 shit running like out of the gate. You were like, you
Yeah.
progressed him, and his paddling shows. He like already, I watch him paddle, and he's on par with like guys that I've paddled with for 20 years. And he's very
way
smooth.
better than I am. I've gave him a super slow marinade, but he's
Exactly.
had the benefit of watching the best in the world, all
Yeah.
these guys on YouTube, and just we've gotten to paddle with a lot of amazing paddlers, and yeah, it's awesome, man. I'm following his lead.
Yeah.
He wants to run the Bear now, so I guess
Yeah,
if we did this a year from now, I'll be talking, I'll be in like a neck brace talking about
no.
how I was trying to
David
race
Levitt,
my son down stairway.
Yeah, I think David Levitt on I can't remember the rapid. David got hurt on the Bear.
Yeah,
what
man.
about the Smokies? One of my favorite. I mean, I'm very partial towards West Prong, but I love me some Tremont. West Prong, as far as being stout and just like put on and go at higher flows, but Tremont. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I mean the Smokies, they're my backyard. There's so many runs I love there. I would say like the local creaking quick fix coming out of West Knox is just Tremont. And when it's high, it can be exciting. Running Thunderhead into Tremont, getting the
which is on the right side split, right?
Yeah.
Laurel Prong on the left, Thunderhead on the right. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like my son gets out of school and we've got time to go up there. I think this past spring we were doing after school high water Tremont, high water sinks the elbow laps.
And you can jog your shuttle. Yeah. Well, man, so onto the guidebooks there. Where did you were paddling a lot of creeks. Where did you think, okay, I'm just going to start? Were you documenting runs as you were paddling, or did you just say, I'm going to do a guidebook?
A little bit, man. I've always loved guidebooks. And so when I got into kayaking, I got the Monty Smith's old book.
Some William Neely's.
Yeah. There's a couple of different ones. Yeah. But yeah, I was just like, oh, I want to check all this stuff out, and then I started finding out, oh, there's tons of things that aren't in this guidebook. And so that was kind of right when American Whitewater was developing their database. So they started having like a Whitewater database, and I started reading about it, and there were a lot of holes and gaps. So I started, that
You
was
were a
just a
stream
natural.
keeper for a bunch of them, I think, right?
Yeah, I got into that for a while, just like putting all the beta out, geeking out on all that stuff. And then it just at one point kind of realized, okay, I'm kind of putting in work. I guess my wife was like, "What are you doing? What are you spending so much time doing this?" And yeah, I lucked up, man. It's kind of a roller coaster, a lot of ins and outs, but basically I got lucky. I got hooked up with Wolverine Publishing in Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
who did a book for my friend Evan. He wrote Whitewater of the Southern Rockies, along with Kyle McCutcheon, and that was a great book. And so he kind of he hooked me up and just did an intro for me and the owner of the company, and we hit it off. We signed a contract, and then all of a sudden it was real, and I just started making Excel spreadsheets of all the runs, everything I had pictures of, everything I didn't have pictures of.
Yeah.
I started relying, I didn't do it on my own. I had so many friends in
I
the
remember.
Knoxville area
Mm-hmm.
who travel around and paddle everything, and they're great photographers. They really made a huge difference. And now that I'm working on a second edition, they're making a big difference on that too. So
you're
it
working
helps
on,
just,
yeah. So
I'm
are you
working on
doing a
second edition.
revision? Is it a revision of this, or is it additional to this? Like
It's
additional
so
runs?
here's what happened. We ran out of books. So we're totally out of books. And I guess everyone's running out. They're going for some crazy price on Amazon that, I'm sure no one's paying, but
Yeah.
they're at that point. They're out of print, I guess. And so that's where we're at. So it's like, well, we know people keep buying them. So we just made a call. My publisher was interested in doing more. So
these are out of print right now.
that's right. Yeah, I've got like 10 of those the volume 1. I've got like 10 of those in my house.
Volume 2.
Got like 3 of those. Yeah, I'm holding on to those.
Yeah.
Couple of personal copies.
So these are out of print like right now, but I'm looking around.
Yeah.
It's funny because before I got in here, I just was doing a little bit of research, and it seemed like NRS says they have some, REI has some, but I don't know if you tried to order them, would you get them or what? I don't know.
My gut is you can probably still find them somewhere, but you probably have to like call around and check a bunch of it'd be a lot of work probably to find them at this point.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we want to make more. And my publisher kind of gave me a few different options, and I just chose what I thought worked best for me, which is let's do another edition, but let's do all new photography and all new stories. And of course, we don't have all new photography. I think I hit like 91%. So that my goal was 100%, but I got 91% fresh photography. All new stories from, really good writers. And all the new runs I can pack in there. So it depends, the current layout in the book, you have, descriptions that are a page, descriptions that are 2 pages.
Yeah.
If it's like the best run ever, it might get 3 pages of real estate in the book. And then at the end of each chapter, I have a mentions section, which could be a sentence, a paragraph, 2 paragraphs, just something that kind of hints at, okay, this might be worth checking out. A lot of those mentions were that way because we didn't have pictures. And then I got a great picture, so we upgraded it to a page.
Yeah.
I have also upgraded some mentions just because
I don't know if you can see that. That's kind of what you're talking about. This is like, 1 page.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's right.
You'll have like some photos there and then a photo there. And you're calling this the data box. Is that what you call this thing?
Beta box.
Beta box.
Yeah.
Are you staying with this same format?
Yeah, it's
I like
similar,
this.
Yeah,
I like this format.
It carries on that same style, I would say. My designer, she's amazing. She just does incredible work. And so she has upgraded all the style guiding for everything. And so it's going to look better. More, style changes. I don't know anything about style, but
yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's got some new ideas. It's going to look really beautiful. It's going to look more colorful. And then a lot of these runs that I just mentioned, we got good pictures, we got more info. Now they're a full run description. Some of the runs I kind of littered hints in the last edition, in the first edition, of like first descents and creeks that are worth exploring. A lot of those have been done since then or have
Yeah.
been explored. We've got pictures, we got information. I think of one in particular, Upper Creek over near Linville Gorge. Michael Ferraro, Ryan
Yep.
McAvoy really kind of, they went
It's
in and
stout.
they turned it from what originally was kind of a disastrous first descent, an infamous first descent, and kind of like
They ran it
polished it.
several times.
Oh, they ran it like 10 times
Yeah.
and they dialed it into like the perfect level, the perfect, here's where we portage river level, here's where we run blind through here to make it work. I actually got to paddle with them, which is pretty sweet. They let me in on this to come out after
On the
they had kind
upper.
of cleaned it up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that I've
I,
been wanting to get that too. It looks good.
yeah, yeah. And it's real. And people were like, I can't believe you did that. And I was like, well, I was with these guys and they're the ones that figured it all out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, runs like that. There's there's not that much left. There's nothing new under the sun, as they say. I mean, every decade, someone who's been paddling a while says there's nothing else to explore. And more has been explored,
Then you find 10
obviously.
more runs.
Yeah, so we've got new runs in the book and enough in there to keep it fresh, I think.
Would you ever do a digital copy? Or would you
Uh,
always stay with print?
I probably wouldn't put much effort into that personally. And maybe that's my inner curmudgeon, and maybe that's, I get a lot of
I
unsolicited advice
I
about all
like
kinds of
having
things.
these in the car with me.
Yeah, and I like thumbing through, looking at the
I do too.
pictures. I like that they shine in the light. I mean, it's just a real physical book. Um, there's so much ways to share info on the internet, and it's not like you couldn't find out. You could definitely go find out way more about most of these runs by just doing a big data mine session on the internet. But sometimes it's not about how much information there is, it's about the scale of information that's given and then what is not given based on expertise and experience, and like that's
Yeah.
the goal of these books is like, hey, he didn't mention this, maybe it's not worth talking about.
Yeah.
Or he definitely mentions this is something we need to think about, not just from a safety perspective, but just, the idea is let's read for 1 minute and get an idea of this is something we want to do or it's not. And if we do
Like
want to do it, here's the mindset we need, both with respect to moving down the river, but also like, how are we going to catch it? What kind of rain do we need? Who do we need to call to go on this one with
yeah.
us? Who do we not want to call? Right? Just all that stuff. So,
Like correct me if I'm wrong here, when you say a guidebook, you're not telling people the rapids and how to run things. This is more water levels, and you do briefly touch on major sieve or major undercut here or there, but you don't break down a lot of the rapids in these books. So someone thinking they're going to buy this and you're going to have each rapid broken down, stay left here, you want to catch a boost stroke.
right.
That's not what these are for, right?
Correct. Yeah. It's more just like a catalog of all the entire inventory of what is half worth paddling in the Southeast. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's partly, I mean, there was just no room or time there, to
You
make a
would
book
still
that
be
big.
making these today.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't, my goal isn't to like completely trace the three-dimensional shape of the earth,
Yeah.
and represent
Good
it
luck.
in a book. It's more like to just kind of characterize it in a minimal way.
Yeah. Well, dude, you nailed it. I mean, these things have been like it really made me look at like the Southeast, and it kind of ruined me in a way personally, because I never want to do the same one twice. There's so much runs out there. I start wanting that. If it's nothing new, somebody will call me. They're like, "You run around the green." I was, what else is running? It's like if it's
Hey,
something new that I haven't ran, I'm like, I'm in. I'm in. I don't even care. I'll just drop everything and go do it.
it might have done the opposite to me. And, part of the reason I did this is I have a predilection, a neurosis, or whatever, a stubbornness to try to always do new stuff. And I just loved exploring for so long. But I'll be honest anymore. I mean, I've explored about everything I want to. Sometimes I say no to new runs, and I just, especially like having a family to paddle with
Yeah.
and just getting middle age and family time's precious. And like, also, like, if I'm going to go do a selfish run, if I'm not working, if I'm not paddling with my family, I have to ask myself, like, how long am I going to be gone? So
Yeah.
like anymore, man, I've become more of a local paddler.
Nothing
I
wrong with
used to
that.
do, yeah, I used to do hundreds of different
I
runs
know.
each year. Now I'm doing dozens. So I explore out west. I mean, I love going out west and doing new
Yeah,
stuff.
you
So that's
guys,
probably where I do that.
you recently went to California, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, last year, right?
Yeah,
How
I
was
go every year, man. I'm usually out there
what's
for
your
about a
go-to
month.
out there?
Uh, I mean, to me, California, if you say California, a kayaker is going to think the Sierras, but there's a whole nother range, the Coast Range, which kind of starts up near, I mean, starts near Redding, north of Sacramento, and goes all the way up into the Oregon coast, and it's awesome up there. But there's always something good going up there in a normal year. I kind of my what always seemed like the ultimate to me when I started kayaking, especially just watching the kayaking videos and the people that I was watching when I started, was High Sierra multi days. So I've
Oh,
done most of the High Sierra multi days. That's kind of been like that was like my big bucket list, is let's see if I can get on all these, like Middle Kings, Upper Cherry, Fantasy, all the stuff you see all the big dogs running in the
a lot of
videos.
hiking, right?
A lot of hiking, a lot of like type 2 fun here and there, struggling, suffering together with your friends, but also the glory of when it provides like these moments of just perfection, and like knowing, okay, this is a high point, I'll never ever forget this. So that's kind of what California has always meant to me. But there's just a massive amount of kayaking there.
Did you take Alex with you last year?
He has not touched California yet, but I'm hoping this year we'll get enough snow. His school break is such that we will need a good solid 100% snowpack.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't happened. It's not going well out there for moisture and temperatures,
I see
winters.
Tahoe just got hammered pretty good. I don't know where that would be.
Yeah, hey, the last week or so I just checked a week ago, and they were sitting at 100% of normal for this time. So maybe they got a big bump and
Yeah.
it won't all rain off on us. But yeah, I'm hoping to get him out there. He wants to do all this stuff, and I kind of feel like his curve's going like this, and
Yeah.
mine's probably going like
It
this.
went like that. Yeah. And then his is
So we're
still
kind of
going.
hanging out as we're passing each other by, and what I'm hoping is that he'll be able to extend my.
He's what, 15, 16 now?
He just turned 15.
Okay. So he got his learner's permit.
He just got it last week, man.
Yeah.
We've been driving around the neighborhood, and it's crazy. But yeah, he's just going to keep getting hungrier and hungrier. So I'm hoping I can extend my season on those High Sierra Classics with
Well, there you
him.
go. What about
Yeah.
Colorado? Anything out there that you've been eyeballing?
I've done a little bit of Colorado boating. It's also, I've done kind of most of the, I guess, a lot of the classics, Big South, the Arkansas, Pandora's, Vallecito,
OBJ. Yeah.
Black Canyon, OBJ. I love the Black Canyon. That place is super
I've
raw.
not done that, but I've heard about it. I've heard a lot about it. What
It's
region is
it's
that, on the Front Range?
that's a Black Canyon of the Gunnison. So
Oh, that's yeah.
if you're in Crested Butte and you
Hmm.
go back down to Gunnison, just go west on 50, and it's a couple hours down the road, but it's just like 2,500-foot walls straight up,
I've seen
right out of
videos and
water.
pictures. It looks
Yeah, it's
great,
cool.
and everybody's like, "Oh, you got to get on the Black Canyon."
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, I've given up a lot of opportunities to travel abroad because I just find that the whitewater in our own country is so amazing. And
People, I 100% agree with you. People so overlook the amount of runs that we have in the United States, and the variety of runs. You would know more than anybody, being the variety of runs we have in the U.S. And people are like, "Oh, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here." I was like, "Dude, there's a lifetime of rivers just in the United States." Would you not
yeah,
agree?
I agree, and I think, like, having been a quote unquote collector for a long time, i.e., one of these people that just kind of goes after, got to get new runs, got to get new runs. It almost becomes like this joyless numerical like pursuit. It's a program that you've run so long that you just fit in that program, and it kind of, you're
I
not
call
running
it
the
I
program,
call
it's
it
running
chasing
you.
the white demon.
Right. And there is no end, there's never enough. it's never impressive enough. It never satisfies. And so, to me, partially, I got a family. I have a lot of reasons that I'm tied to East Tennessee. I'm fortunate enough to be an American, live in this country. I mean, coast to coast. I mean, what other country in the world has coasts? We've got the whole expanse of the continent. We've got every biome imaginable. We got every style of whitewater imaginable.
And
And
the infrastructure for travel is,
yeah, they take my money. They speak my language,
and just being able to get across the country is not like a
Oh yeah.
tedious chore. We've got
Well, I see it as
I-40.
it's just an incredible privilege. And you can say, okay, we're people living in the 21st century. We've got our finger to everything, access to everything, but particularly here. And so I want to do more travel abroad, but I just keep finding myself going out west because there's always more to see, and
It's
there's
magical.
so much less logistical effort, and the paddling to dealing ratio is pretty sweet.
Yeah. What's is there a region right now out west that you're like, I'm eyeballing that, like must do? Or
I don't know. Like I said, I'm just so more just cool with what I've done thus far
yeah,
these
you could
days.
almost chalk it up, Kurt, and say I can just redo the Ocoee and be fine.
I even have fun on the Ocoee.
I
Don't
do
tell
too. I have a
anyone I said
blast on the Ocoee.
that.
Ain't nothing wrong with
um,
that.
uh, I like the Olympic Peninsula a lot, and I've done one,
Washington.
yeah, and I've done one rainy trip there in April when they get world record rain there, so it's like 4 inches of rain every day. You got Tarp City, and you're just chasing creeks. And then I've done one trip there that was you can also do late season snow and snow melt, glacier melt trips, like on some of these multi-day trips where you have to hike a long ways. There's more of those I want to do just because of the wilderness component.
Yeah.
There's still some stuff in California I want to do. I still haven't done South Merced, uh, maybe North Fork of the San Joaquin. There's some stuff I haven't done I'd like to do
Is
there.
it
So,
the real question? Is there anything in the southeast left for you?
uh, there's stuff I haven't done. I'm just trying to think of, yeah, and I want to get back into the Martins Fork, which is this super obscure, beautiful wilderness run in Kentucky that's like the whole watershed's totally protected by the National Park Service, and it's got just the coolest geology, the cleanest water. It's
Martin
kind of a
Fork.
Martins Fork of the Cumberland, yeah, and it's kind of this manky, dangerous, steep creek that's just, I wouldn't even say it's like the best, it's not like the best run, but it's just, I don't know, just weird little places like that.
Yeah.
I still want to get, I want to go run Harper Creek Falls. I got one run on that at
Greg
low
Prom
water like a decade ago, but
over that way. Yeah.
yeah, I'd like
Yeah.
to go do, yeah, get another grag prong lap. That's pretty, some of
Yeah.
these things are hard to catch, and I've only done them a few times. I want to go back to Pocket Creek down in the Sequatchie Valley. That's
I've heard of that one. Mm-hmm.
pretty solid little run. Just more,
Yeah.
I need to get a few Linville and Raven laps every year, just
Ooh,
so that I don't get
yeah. I need
too
to get
scared
back.
to not go back.
I need it. Yeah. Yeah. I love me some Linville. I've only done that maybe a half dozen times. I think about a half dozen times, and it's like, God, it's just magical when I get a Linville lap in. And I'm not
It's
that
the
far away.
ultimate.
I'm
Yeah,
about 3 hours. I guess you're probably about 3-4 hours away too, right?
2.5,
Yeah.
2:45. Yeah, that's kind of my favorite run in the South for sure. And you know, I don't know if I'd want to run it every single day, but that's
Yeah.
just the run
Unless
to
you're
me that
Mike
feels the
Patterson.
most epic. Yeah.
Mike Patterson. I don't know. He probably soloed it about every other day that I know of.
Mike and I got a triple Linville together years ago.
Falls to
That
the
was pretty
lake.
good. Babel to Conley. This is
Okay.
back
It's
when,
like Falls to the lake of triple. Woo. You must have been a
well,
longboat.
that's been done too. That's been done
Yeah, they
too.
took longboats in there and went
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Um, yeah, that's definitely my favorite, but it's hard, it's usually a full day to get over there and do it.
Is that
So,
your favorite? Just Babel to Conley there? That's
man, I end up I end up doing that a lot because I'm either solo or just like bike shuttling or something. A lot of times when I go over there, I don't have a lot of time, so it's just last minute, or meeting one other friend, and we
That's
don't have
how it
time
is
to
for
go.
me. It's like last
Yeah,
minute.
all the way to the lake. It's more of like I can do a Babel to Conley in half a day, whereas a Falls to the Lake often ends up taking so much extra time to
Yeah,
get it
it's
set
6 to
up.
8 hours. Yeah, it's a long day. Falls to the Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, we'll move on. What's your current like boat? I know you've paddled a lot of boat. I know you did like the Phantom a lot, but
Yeah,
you've rotated boats out. And what is right now one of your favorite crafts?
man, Dagger's been just killing it lately. I love the Rewind. I never thought I was gonna like say that I love the Rewind more than the Party Brap. And the
Ooh.
Party Brap will always have this special place in my heart. Nothing creaks better in the South than a Party Brap.
Oh, that the South. That's true with that
Yeah,
displacement style
the
and that
South.
kick rocker.
Yeah. But like I took my Party Brap and Rewind to the Russell Fork, and I did one lap in the Party Brap, and then I did a lap in the Rewind, and I just put the Party Brap in the van and just ran the
On the Russell
Rewind all
Fork.
the other
That's right.
laps.
Russell
Good
Fork.
water, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. If I'm running the Little, the Teleco, the Green, I'm gonna prefer the Party Brat. But if I'm running the Golly or the Russell Fork, anything with good flow, I'm gonna choose the Rewind.
But
And then the Code, man, I got a Code,
medium or large?
medium.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
That's
175, so that's like
That's right. I seen you out on Chattanooga not too long ago, and I think you were in the. I think you not had it long, right? How long you had that code?
well, took a while to get it, as you might imagine.
Yeah. Well.
I think I got it I think it was ready in September. I got it
Yeah.
in late October. Um, I love it, man. It's like it's the stability and take care of you of the Phantom, but I feel like the middle third of the hull is pretty flat, and so it skips. It just skips and planes, kind of like kind of like the walkaboats, but it's still got that friendly take care of you feel the Phantom, and it's got an aggressive style that doesn't trip up on rocks. So like I can get these skippy, poppy, snappy movements, but I'm not tripping up on rocks either. So I feel like it's a boat. It's a boat that'll do well on a lot of stuff. Like it'll do great on. For me, a litmus is always the west prong. Some
Oh,
boats
for
don't do great
sure,
on the
West
west
Palm.
prong. Like
Scorch
if the boat
doesn't.
doesn't do
The
well on it,
Scorch doesn't.
no, sir. Oh, I
The
mean, it's a function of, yeah, you can't, nothing over 9 feet is going to love the West prong, especially if you got like that negative stern rocker at the tip, you
Well, it's
know.
that hard edge because
Yeah,
the West Prong is a lot of flare boosts,
that's
and
right.
those that
When you're
the
bridging too, like the West prong, the features are so packed, so tightly together that in a longer boat that doesn't have that super aggressive rocker or it's got the sharp edges, you can be touching two different features at the same time. I mean,
yeah.
you remember, did you ever paddle a CFS on the West
Oh
Prong?
my God, yes, yes.
Yes, short, fat, stubby, slow, perfect West
Don't get
Prong
it
boat.
sideways in one of those vert ledges. I found out the hard way.
Or like a Nomad, Delta V,
Nomads are great, yeah.
any of these boats are great West Prong boats. But
And
this
for
thing's a good
everybody
West Prong boat, and it's
to
still fun on other stuff, you
to
know.
explain everybody listening, West Prong in East Tennessee, right outside the Smokies, is one of the, I would say it's like a pinnacle run of the Smokies. Like if you're doing the chimneys
Absolutely.
and all of that, that's the
There's
pinnacle.
nothing gnarlier than the West Prong.
It is like
Yeah,
class 5 plus, and it's very water level dependent. There's levels on there you don't even want to attempt it. And then it's like, yeah, it's very, to do that upper section of West Prong is, that's a stout day. And what Kurt's saying, that they're stacked. The rapids are like class 5 back to back with like 6-7 foot apart. Right.
yeah. It's stacked, yeah. I mean, it's the only place you can drop 2,000 feet with one shuttle in the South.
All roadside too, right,
So
buddy?
there's that. Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a run I've walked off of more than the West Prong, but I've got a
Too
lot of
high or
West
too
Prong
low?
laps.
Both.
Too scared, is that an option? Yeah.
Yeah.
Too high, yeah, too high. Too low too, man. The West Prong, it's such a fickle thing. It is not meant to be kayaked, but if you do, you'll need to have it within like a 6-inch range, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
like at the bottom end, of like what you're willing to tolerate, like a boat abuse wise, add 6 inches, and that's getting into like about as much as you want.
Yeah, where it starts getting a little too scary. One
Yeah.
bad thing, and then you don't want to solo the rest. So when my buddy broke his boat, that means we both walked out because I'm not soloing the rest.
Yeah.
I'm not soloing West Prong by myself.
And if you do it top to bottom, I challenge anyone to do it top to bottom and have the same number of people take out with unbroken boats at the
That
bottom as the number of people at the top that
that's
put
so
in.
true.
That
With
those two numbers are always different. Always
broken paddle, lost boat. We're
right.
coming back later to get your kayak, buddy. Yeah. I don't know how many times it's like, well, we got to come back and get that. Yeah, but back to what you were saying, the code, I could talk about West Prong all damn day, but the code, I agree, is one of those like the perfect amount of rocker on each end for a run like Tremont, West Prong. And I took it over there and I got over there and did like, I think I even ran into you and Alex that day, came over and did, we hiked up and did a little bit of Thunderhead Prong and Tremont. And everybody else was in Scorches, and the Scorch struggled out there. It just does not flare up. Now, given that both can do either one, would you agree with me that, I mean, that's like, have you paddled the Scorch at all? Not the Scorch X, but the Scorches?
I've got an X that I'm just waiting to get on the water. Yeah. And
Okay.
I've got a Grand Canyon trip in a week, so I hadn't had a chance to
That's a good one.
to get in the X. I've paddled with people though that have the regular Scorch. It looks amazing. It looks like they have taken all these concepts from other boats, and really refined them into an all-around performance creek boat. It looks awesome.
Well, have you paddled the Waka OG?
Man, I've got one of those coming to me. I haven't, or actually, yeah, I think it's an OG. No, I haven't paddled it yet.
And that's my best description of the code. It's like, you got a Waka OG, make it southeast worthy.
Yeah, no, it's just what I've taken away is the same thing. It skips and planes. And I love, we had the 9-foot revolution, we had the race, we had the cut off a short boat, and then we had the 9R. And those two things created a good solid decade of everything's got to be 9 feet. But the reality is, like, if you're running steep, hardcore whitewater, like 8.6, 8.8, that's about where you want to be. And I would extrapolate that, like California. I think being in a place like California, having an 8.6, 8.8 boat, you're going to be able to tuck it into some tighter sequences. Obviously, if you're in like, if you're running the truss at 4 feet or the little wide, with solid flows, you can run a 10-foot boat, you can run a 9.5-foot boat with sharp edges, and there's no downside. But being in the South, we've got these tiny little creeks that really do pack all the features close together. And, to me, I'm always getting my speed from the water. So for me, like having max hull speed isn't like the number one factor for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
but
the
code
Phantom
still feels pretty quick for its length, man.
Yeah, and it's able to whip around and hit an eddy and pick up speed fast to get over a drop, but it doesn't maintain the speed like the Phantom. Would you agree with that? It doesn't hold that speed like the Phantom.
No, it's when it's playing. I mean, when a boat's planing, it's losing speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
It loses because it planes harder. It loses speed faster. So yeah, it's wanting to sit at a lower average speed. But when it comes to bow draws and boost strokes, that's what you want anyway. And I love the way the Phantom paddles, the 9R, any of these longer boats. I love the way they paddle, but this code just feels super confident. It's loose. I'm never committed to any bad angles. I can always make corrections. Yeah.
Dagger nailed it with that design, dude. What about as far as a paddle? Do you have like a certain brand or certain like paddle that you always go to? Are you just an all Warner guy, or do you use pretty much anything?
Yeah, so I've used Werner's for so long.
Fiberglass or carbon?
I used fiberglass red blade powerhouses for so long, and I switched to the carbon black powerhouse, and I love it. I use a 200 centimeter with a 45-degree offset, and to me, that paddle, that black, that carbon black, just like to me, that's a paddle. It's super light. It's the lightest paddle out there.
Good blade design too, right?
Yeah, it's as stiff as you're going to get without going foam core. And sometimes I lose paddles and break paddles. So to me, budget is a consideration, like I just feel like the all carbon powerhouse to me is just like, that's the weapon. I do have a Letman, so I will say I have
Oh,
at least one bougie paddle. I've got the
me too.
Letman,
It's okay.
whatever that is, the Profile
The LCS,
Extreme,
the LCS Extreme 70.
LCS.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's my race. I'm taking that to the Grand Canyon
Is it a forward crank or is it a straight?
straight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it a two piece?
it's a two piece. Yeah,
Have you ever used a two piece before?
just this one. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been extremely impressed on how well that thing holds up, dude. I'm going on probably 6 to 7 months with mine, and it's been bomber. I was a little nervous of that piece in the middle, but man, mine's been flawless.
yeah. I'm always like checking it to make sure the latch isn't like coming loose,
I'm
and
always doing it too.
I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, they did a pretty good job. I'm always weary of gimmicks. I like super minimal, simple stuff. That's
I
why I
agree.
like the all
Function is
carbon.
beauty, is what a guy told me.
Right, right. And it's expensive paddles, right? So like I don't take it on the green. Like
Mm.
I'm kind of babying it and just using it here and there and kind of seeing what I think about it. But so far, I think the blade profile is amazing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a little different when it comes to like low braces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've
Oh,
noticed that.
yeah, it's
Just
got it.
the back face sheds way differently. You've got to be a little more precise, like on how, like your angle on your low braces, especially like if you're rocking forward in holes and stuff.
Well,
So
that's why I never use it for play boating. Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's terrible for full slicing. If I've got a full slice boat,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
I'm taking my either my Warner Surge or my old school AT paddle. Those things are beautiful because
right.
it's funny you see that too. It's like it's got a bubble on the back
Yep,
non-power face that it does. I go to brace and I've had some weird funky stuff happen. It wants to go this away.
right.
Yeah, which there's
I
nothing wrong with
think
that.
given enough time, you can. I feel like I can push through it and maybe find some happiness with it, even on like some more playful stuff. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it's it's a super expensive paddle, so
Yeah.
it's kind of just something that, yeah, I was lucky enough to be able to get one of these and be able to try it out. I do like it.
Yeah.
It feels really solid in the water. Yeah.
But it has its place. I agree.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we adapt. You want to adapt your tools to you, but really all you are is how much you're able to adapt to everything else. So,
Yeah.
being able
That
to adapt and just use what you've got, you know.
what is yeah, so moving on, do you you do a guide service, right? So are you like
Yep.
what explain like what you do? To explain to people listening as far as like how you do the guide. Is it like river guiding or do you have a specific river that you take them on or is it they can
Uh,
choose or what?
I work with Ace Kayaking School down in the Ocoee,
Okay.
with Joe Gudger.
Yeah.
And so I've been working for him for almost 7 years now. So I started really just working on the Ocoee and the Hiwassee with Joe. And he's kind of let me develop my own satellite ACE office, so to speak. There's no brick and mortar, but it's just up here in Knoxville, out of my house. And what I do is I got us permitted on the Obed and Big South Fork, which is
Okay.
just a great place to
Oh
teach.
yeah.
It's close to me, so that's kind of like where I like to be from November through April is up there working. And we're trying to get permitted more areas to be able to teach more places. And we don't just do day instruction. So I got to keep it fun for me, and I like to mix it up and try to not just teach people hard skills, but also teach them like, hey, here's something worth aspiring to, or trying to find out what do people really enjoy about this and how can we chase those specific things. So I do a lot of multi-day clinics. um, I actually do something called the beatdown clinic where we take people who are kind of timid about holes and we
I've
just go
heard
get
of this.
annihilated and swim and
Is it a
you
broken
know
nose?
no shame. Yeah, the goal on those beatdown clinics is
Yeah.
for everybody to swim. um,
You got
but
to get used to that, right? Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, you're not being a bully. It's like you got to be used to that because if there's people
yeah.
they avoid holes for so long. That's a good idea, dude.
One downside to paddling, like whitewater kayaking, particularly in the South, it's so casual and it's so fun right out of the gate. that it just feels like something that a ton of work wouldn't be necessary for. And it's kind of true. You can definitely develop a minimal skill set, a group of people that you enjoy being with, and you can be a kayaker, you can boat 40, 50 days a year. But developing skill makes it more fun. So becoming a better paddler and really just putting in a little more work. So that's my goal, is to take folks who love paddling.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not even sure why, but they just love it, and get out there and we work on skills and figure out what they love about it, and then how we can develop more skill to have more fun doing it. Because the more control and skill you've got, the more fun you have, the more confident, the safer. I want to see people be independent and competent, with all their tools.
Yeah. And I've said that also, that the better you get at this, the more rewarding it is. And I think you nailed it, dude, when you're like, don't be complacent and like, oh, we don't need to like work that hard. I was like, get in better shape, watch what someone else does, watch videos, read a book or something on it. I mean, the more you learn about it, the more fun it becomes, where you're not scared shitless.
Hit moves, sweat. I think back, like when I started paddling, like I just wanted to do a stern squirt, and I worked my ass off to do stern squirts. Finally figured out how to do them. I got a roll in the process, because when you flip over trying to stern squirt, swimming, I'd go to the same spot on the Hiwassee 3 chutes down there and swim to that embarrassing island down there, where you get out and empty your stuff. And I got tired of doing that. I learned to roll, and I went to the Ocoee and found out, oh my gosh, we can run the Ocoee. And my wife and I mean, we'd paddle 7 hours a day. We didn't take care of ourselves. We didn't drink water. We didn't bring any food. We didn't wear sunscreen. We're sunburnt, dehydrated, about to throw up, paddle till you swim.
Yeah.
We got to where we're bare hand in the river both days, every weekend. We'd play in hellhole until we swam.
Just fatigued completely out.
Yeah. Huh? Hit the hardest moves possible over and over, attainments, just working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that tenacity and feel it flowing through your veins. And so I'm trying to get folks out of that mentality of like, we put on at 1 and we take out at 2:30, and then we're eating at the Mexican place at 5. Like, let's do this. Let's put on at 10 and take out at dinner time. And to me, like, you measure a river trip not by how fast you went, but how many eddies you caught. The more eddies you caught, the more you paddled.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I would do an Ocoee lap, and it'd be 7 hours, 1 lap. And
I've never done 2.
No.
Ever.
I'm like,
I don't understand.
I'm like,
why would you do 2?
If you work, because you can work that river, and that goes the same for like the Green or like Big South Fork. You could work attainments, eddy lines, trying to find a cool slot move. Yeah, man, that's a good good philosophy to teach like newcomers. Do you do like completely green, or do you like them to have a roll, or what?
I mean, I am a full-time whitewater kayak instructor, so I'm not too picky.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. I don't know how. I didn't think I'd be able to do it this long, but I don't know how long it'll last. So I try to teach anyone who's interested. So I get folks who I can tell, they found my website and they're on vacation, and this is probably the first and last time they'll go kayaking, and we go have a good time, have a nice lunch, go
What's your
swimming
website?
on the river. Yeah, have a good time.
What's the website's name?
It is www.wwsouthernapps.com.
Is this it?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is where people would go. So you would go to www. I guess it's www. And what it is, it's whitewatersouthernapps.com. Correct? Yep. Yeah. And when it comes up at.
Yeah, you can go to guiding and instruction and.
Oh, nice. Okay. And
that's
you're
us.
Through. Yeah. Oh, nice. So yeah, everybody listening, I mean, especially if you're around this region here, but you do pretty much, do you travel outside the Southeast or?
Not really. I mean, what happens oftentimes, I've got clients who we get to the point where we're just really paddling as friends. So, I've gotten to take a lot of folks out, traveling, paddling elsewhere, who I've got nothing more to teach them, and it's really just like, hey, come with us, let's have a good time, go explore. Yeah.
Well, dude, that's awesome. Let's see, anything else you want to talk about there? Anything else you want to bring up?
Well, I wish you hadn't done that video on those piranha thigh braces, because now I can't get any of them.
Oh, the hookers. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I love my hookers.
Man, I'm trying to get my hands on some. Mike told me that it's Wade's video did them in, so
they said they sold out in a matter of a day. All they are is piece. I should have made my own. All they are is pieces of plastic with foam on them with slots in them. Yeah, dude. If you put them in, what piranha boat are you wanting to put them in? That Scorch X?
All of them. Yeah,
hey, I highly recommend
them. Yeah, I've got an Ozone too that I really like. The Ozone, it is such a awesome boat on a wave. But yeah, I'd love to get a little more thigh contact. I like what you did that video too about using the little Liquid Logic fabric loops to pull the to reposition where you're pulling the back band from, to get some bite on the sides of that back band on the.
Have you done it on any of your Liquid Logic? I mean,
I haven't, but I'm planning on it because I've got a bunch of those loops. So
it changes the way that boat handles, because it puts that back band in a better seated position, and it actually lets the ratchets work more efficiently in the straight line there.
You got to get a little hug from the sides on the back band, not
like
too
the dagger.
much.
Dagger does that too. It hugs.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, we Alex and I love watching your videos. They're super fun, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Alex, I'd seen him a few times. He's been watching my stuff. But also on that, Alex has a really good YouTube channel. If anyone listening, go over and look at Alex Edelman, I think's what it's called. Yeah, Alex. It's just his name, right?
Yeah, just his name, and you'll see. And he loves making videos, man. He he really enjoys it, and I love it too, because he puts a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into his.
He does a good job.
Videos.
Yeah. So everybody go over and check his channel out. He's been putting up, he's got a good variety, and he's been traveling around, and I really look forward to seeing him keep this going and keeping it growing, because, it's just looking at it now, he's got a good amount of content already stacking up for his age. That's impressive.
I know. Yeah. It's
and
blessed.
All right, Kurt. Well, how can people get a hold of you? I see your website there, and what's the best way for everybody to get a hold of you?
Oh, email me, Kirk at acekayaking.com. Just shoot me an email. Yeah, if you're interested in instruction, or if you are interested in some type of guided experience that maybe you don't see being offered in other, at other places. We kind of describe ourselves as fast and light, meaning we can cater anything to whatever preference you have. We want to be able to mold what we can do to the person we're doing it for. So yeah, whatever you want to do, reach out.
And then as far as getting your guidebooks right now, you're saying that good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, just keep trying. So we do have that second edition right now. I'm finishing production on volume 1, and then we've probably got, I'm probably going to guess, I'm hoping in late February we'll send it off to the printer, and then it's usually about a 6-week turnaround. It'll have to go through Los Angeles, so through the ports. So that's all I can say.
Well, you guys,
who knows? Who knows what will happen?
Is there a website for those?
My website's probably good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, they'll be available on Wolverine Publishing's website, which I think is just wolverinepublishing.com.
Okay.
But we've got contracts with like REI, any whitewater shop that you would think would have it will have it. This will be everyone will have these books, I think. So once they're out, it won't be difficult to get them, and you'll probably hear about it.
Well, that's awesome, Kirk, man. Dude, I'll let you get off here and get back to it. And, good, have fun out there on the Grand Canyon trip you got coming up. And I appreciate you coming on, dude, and chatting with me real quick, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked, man. And come paddle Bee Creek with me sometime.
Oh, for sure.
Holler at me when you're up in the area.
All right, Kurt, man. Have a good day, buddy. I'll let you go.
All right. Thanks. See you, Wade.
See you, buddy.